This video is an additional resource to accompany a forthcoming report titled Trade and Transportation Talent Pipeline Blueprints, Building Industry-Driven Talent Pipelines in Colleges of Continuing and Professional Education, which will be published by the Mineta Transportation Institute. My name is Stacy Park, a research associate at the Center for International Trade and Transportation at California State University, Long Beach, and one of the co-authors. I will be walking through some of the key ideas found in this report. This report was competitively selected and funded as part of California Senate Bill 1, Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program. The California State University Transportation Consortium, led by the Mineta Transportation Institute at San Jose State University, conducts research and workforce development activities to identify safe, reliable solutions that increase mobility of people and goods and strengthen California's economy. The need and idea behind talent pipelines is comparable to what Branch Rickey did for baseball. The farm team system was designed to equip and train young players and provide them with the experience that they would need to rise up to the major leagues. Similarly, a talent pipeline system ensures that entrants and incumbent workers are receiving the training and education that they need to become hireable candidates. These training and education programs that are co-created by university industry partnerships are what make talent pipelines an effective solution for proactive talent cultivation. There isn't anything explicitly wrong with the traditional hiring model. It has worked in the past and can continue to work. However, the traditional hiring model operates through industry being in a more passive role in the training and education of their future job candidates, and students are usually enrolled in mostly lockstep degree programs. In the face of rapid changes and demands of particular jobs and its industries, this model is not as sufficient or sustainable. Talent pipelines, on the other hand, are uniquely designed so that university and industry work as collaborative partners in education and training design and implementation. They offer flexibility and accountability so that there's a layer of workforce development introduced to a student's education and training, so that those who are seeking degrees can participate if they want to enhance their ability to compete for in-demand occupations. The talent pipelines in this report are largely focused on short-term programming solutions, targeting specific on-the-job and necessary KSAs that are required for in-demand occupations in the trade and transportation sector. University industry partners work together to keep the curriculum as up-to-date as possible while providing students and incumbents opportunities to train within and in an industry context. Talent pipelines reconfigure a traditional training model that guarantees a more hireable candidate. Said another way, talent pipeline strategies put the SNA, skills and abilities, back in KSA, knowledge, skills, and abilities. This report suggests that CSUs adopt talent pipelines for fields like the trade and transportation sector, as rapid adoption rates of transformational technologies and numerous other socio or economic factors require continual training and upskilling for incumbent workers and industry-led training for entrants. Workforce and economic development research has long commented on a growing middle skills gap throughout the years, but many jobs, especially in the trade and transportation sector, can no longer be defined as such because these jobs are now requiring bachelor's degrees or even more advanced degrees and further training for incumbents. The report goes into more detail about how the industry is undergoing such large-scale changes that can be qualified as a fourth industrial revolution. This implies that workforce development and training needs to respond in kind with a strategic and effective response so that entrants and incumbents are empowered in what the authors of this report are calling a transformational skills paradigm. Within the CSUs, the report identifies colleges of professional and continuing education as ideal hosts for talent pipelines because they convene partners and create industry-driven and not-for-credit training programs in a timely and efficient manner to meet demand. And they also offer specific degrees, certificates, and non-credit professional development that are compatible with university industry talent pipelines. In essence, CPACEs have the capacity to create the kind of accelerated programming as responses to rapid workplace changes. CPACEs already aim to help incumbent workers and adult learners, and their programming can be opened up for emerging professionals pursuing undergraduate and graduate degrees who seek to receive additional industry-led training. Through serving this range of emerging, incumbent, and displaced professionals, CSU leaders can establish new educational marketplaces to drive student enrollment and catalyze industry engagement. To create an infrastructure for talent pipeline facilitation, these 5 elements illustrated in the figure reflect how cross-sector partnerships are established and maintained. As a proof of concept for this report, CITT Director of Research and Workforce Development, Tyler Reeb, convened industry and CSU partners to establish an ITS engineering talent pipeline pilot program for a select group of engineering students at Long Beach. The following slides reflect steps for planning and implementing a talent pipeline and the plans in place for this pilot program. The first step is to recognize industry leaders and university subject matter experts who will validate skills and occupational gaps that are occurring in the field. For the pilot program, this convening of ITS engineering industry partners occurred over a period of 5 years, beginning with cooperative and collaborative partnerships that developed into the full talent pipeline partnership in 2022. This first step is largely active networking, engaging the collaborative and like-minded interest of industry partners to tackle innovative forms of workforce development and training. The second step is to recognize common workforce development pain points, the skills and abilities themselves that need to be the target for talent pipeline programming. For the ITS engineering pilot, labor market analysis and final recommendations in the Trade and Transportation Talent Pipeline Blueprints report inform the rationale. The final step is to work with industry stakeholders and CPACE partners in order to establish a formal collaboration and partnership that will lead into making talent pipeline programming a permanent and unique offering of the CPACEs. The launch meeting for the pilot program, which took place on November 16, 2022, was one of many that are being scheduled to plan, organize, and facilitate the ITS engineering pilot, which will take place in spring 2023. This report offers a few different types of collaborative partnerships that can take place for talent pipelines. The first reflects a single employer talent pipeline, which best describes the ITS engineering pilot implemented in partnership with Gannett Fleming, an engineering firm. Much like the talent pipeline model that was shown earlier, this reflects how a single employer, like Gannett Fleming, can work with the university to create talent pipeline programming that would eventually lead to opportunities for students and professionals to work with that employer. These following slides reflect the kind of curriculum that would be used in the ITS engineering pilot program. I, along with associates at CITT, led the effort in creating curriculum for ITS professional capacity building with funding from the US DOT Volpe Center. This module contains an introduction to automation technologies and the research involved in the potential implementation of automation in bus rapid transit systems. The sample slides reflect some of the introductory information included in this module. This is another module that CITT researchers developed, which introduces notions of data privacy and rights for ITS and city planning. This curriculum will also likely be used in developing the ITS engineering pilot. These slides represent introductory information for ITS and city planning. The culmination of the ITS engineering pilot program in spring 2023 will lead to paid summer internships at Gannett Fleming in summer 2023, which will ultimately provide an invaluable professional development and training opportunity for these engineering students. This exposure and experience in gaining firsthand training from leading employers is the kind of KSA development that talent pipeline programming can offer. This report suggests other types of collaborative partnerships in talent pipeline planning, and one such example is coalition-supported talent pipelines. Much like the single employer-supported talent pipeline, this is an example of how the ports of Long Beach and LA and other trade associations can take part in providing support for a talent pipeline related to in-demand port jobs. This is an example of how there can be various iterations of talent pipeline partnerships in the trade and transportation industry. But this methodology and blueprint are also tailorable for other industries as well. These are some final questions and thoughts that we want to pose as a means of encouraging CSU partners to think outside of the box with talent pipelines and its potential as an innovative workforce development strategy. The findings and methodology of this report offer ways that all of the CSU partners can think about and approach their roles in providing training and education in a transformational skills paradigm, with an eye for how work is changing and what it will look like in the future. This report will be available to read and download in the link depicted in the slide. It is also available in the description box. If you have questions about the report, you can contact the authors via email. Thank you for listening.